also we have Fong. So Fong is from Edmonton, Katie's from Toronto, and I think we're missing Lisa from Calgary. It's kind of like a Canadian contingent today, although we do have a lot of Americans. It just kind of happened that 3 Canadians are on. Canadians are invading, which, by the way, at my event last year, Mega Success, Canada won the Country of the Year. So while we wait for Lisa, Fong, you're actually one of our first Canadian clients, which even though I was Canadian, I was living in America, and I went to a free event and I'm just going to tell you, I want everybody to write this down, LTV, lifetime value, okay? Lifetime value, okay? And so, Fong, can you just, and we met at a 2-day free event.
Yep.
And how long have you been a client of mine?
I've been a client of yours for about, 10 years now? So it's been a lot of fun following.
Right. And so, first of all, talk about the transition from 10 years to now and how you've evolved in your journey, because you're a top speaker yourself now. You speak all over. You coach a lot of people as well. In fact, you are on the same stage as me, when we were in Edmonton. So you want to talk about your journey quickly and what you've learned?
Yeah, so when I walked into that room, I was basically studying for being an engineer. That's all I was going to be doing. And once I walked into that room, met you, met your team, found out this whole new world, and it's really been changing my life completely. Right now, I'm coaching, I'm doing business, I'm doing real estate, writing books, and being on stages and speaking. That transition for me has just completely been phenomenal. And just meeting all the people at your events has just been absolutely life-changing. So it's been absolutely
awesome. I just
awesome.
want to put this in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. This is Fong, March 5th on the same stage as me. Okay? How about that? Right? How about that? That is significant. So that was his first time on a very big stage, although he had been on my stage right before, but this was a much bigger audience as well. So yes. So Fong, so what's the advice you have people for listening that are listening there? It's been 10 years. I want to show everybody that's why I built a very successful brand, because I have a lot of clients that I've still had for 10 years. And that's how you build a brand, right? Lifetime value. You keep giving value. Brand spoke at Mega Success, but now he just doesn't speak. He does real estate. He does everything. Talk about that transition, Fong.
Well, it's really one of those things, surrounding yourself with the right people, having the right coaches with you, listening to what JT tells you, and just taking action. And asking people the questions that you want to get answered, but only asking those people who's actually been doing it and are successful at it. Don't ask the people who have no idea what they're doing, and don't ask family or friends who don't have the background or knowledge. Ask your coaches, ask the people who are successful, and just keep on following that lead, and you'll be able to achieve so many more things that you never even dreamed of.
And obviously, what has been, how important was branding and coaching? Because I've coached you. Yeah. I also branded you. You also have a show on Million Affiliates, which, by the way, is fantastic because you've been able to leverage it through all the platforms as well. Talk about those 3 things. Let's start with the branding component at first.
Well, when it comes to branding, like with all the photos that I've been getting at these events and meeting other people, I've actually closed a few real estate deals because of those photos. I've got noticed on some websites and whatnot, and I've gotten calls from other people going, hey, I want to work with you because of your connections and the abilities of you networking with other people and all that kind of great stuff. So the branding really worked out for me. With regards to still with all those great photos, I've been asked to speak on different stages, been asked on interviews for different podcasts. So it's really allowed me to get more exposure, get more credibility, and connect with a lot of different people.
The coaching component.
Well, when it comes to coaching, like you just have to be open-minded and follow suit and just being held accountable. That's the biggest thing. When it comes to getting advice from people when it's free, well, it's not. People don't respect that, and sometimes you go, "Oh, there's lots of time. It's not that important," and you don't have your skin in the game. So when you have a coach, you're working with a coach, and that coach tells you something, well, you better follow suit, or else you're wasting time. You're wasting that person's time. You're wasting your own time. And once you follow suit and keep on applying all those learnings, those advices, then you're going to succeed with anything that you really want to do.
And by the way, what do you think makes me different than everybody else? Because I know you've seen a lot of speakers come and go at Edmonton and everywhere else like that. And by the way, always ask your customer. And they say you're nice, you care. I mean, everybody says that. But if you would say, what makes me different than every other speaker? And by the way, that's a question that you need. Always put into your presentation. Always put in your presentation. What is it?
Well, I think the biggest thing that separates you from everybody else is your inclusion with your clients. And being able to share stages with you, being on this call with you, it's that inclusion into your platforms and into your opportunities. It's amazing because not many people allow people to do that.
Can you tell people something that I did for you in March?
I got to go on stage and meet Schwarzenegger.
No. Well, how about Arnold Schwarzenegger? So Arnold Schwarzenegger was rushing to take pictures to get back on a flight, and I'm done with my presentation. And I literally took 3 of my clients that were there, and I took them in front of the line, and they got to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger. And by the way, I was already leaving because I had to rush out my flight, and I did that so that he can do that as well. So, and by the way, I mean, and also he always used to bring me ketchup chips because it's the only place they have is in Canada. But now I'm trying to be healthy, so I don't want these ketchup chips or all dressed chips, but they're so good as well. So, Katie, you have also a very interesting story because I'm going to show a screenshot of something before. I just want to show it here where Katie. So this is a Power Success stage. Toronto was the first time I spoke. 10,000 people at that event. And Katie was at that event in the audience as well. And to make a long story short, that's Katie now speaking on the same stages as me. Not only that, but crushing it in the business world, super branded as well. And so, Katie, you want to tell your story to when you were in October. It hasn't even been a year, okay? I'll put this in context for you. She's 23. She was a millionaire because she had sold some of the shops she's had. Okay, she was like in the audience, but no direction what to do. There's 10,000 people. You see me on stage. Take us from the moment you saw stage to where you are today. It's so remarkable. In fact, she will be making more money than I did at the age of 28 than she is now. It's actually quite disgusting, to be honest. It's disgusting. And it's true. It's verifiable. I know because I see the things. Go ahead.
So I went to that event. The funny thing is I wasn't even supposed to be at that event. And I always say if I'm going to a speaking event, if you can keep me in my chair, that is a really good sign because I have ADD and I'll just start walking around in the back. And I was literally in the third last row. I remember Christine speaking there, Polly speaking there, and seeing everyone up there. And I think just from that event alone, a friend of mine was going to the 2-day event, and she said, just come. So I enjoyed the speech. I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And just from that 2-day alone, the funny thing is I went to the 2-day that was a week later, and she didn't get to go to the one till after January. So I got to experience mega success, get branding, and do all these things. And we often talk about that. She is now part of the family, but I kind of got a different path than she did. And the success that happened, I always say I had a midlife crisis because I had my success, did everything, and didn't know what to do next. So to get the coaching and to get everything, the branding specifically changes everything. You instantly get credibility and it puts you on the top of the list in many cases. So it's crazy to think how fast it all happened, but I don't think I would have pivoted in the pandemic without the coaching at all. I wasn't in that mindset to do that. So now I've got a supply chain and doing all sorts of different things, but it's incredible to think it's only been since October and how fast it's changed.
I meet her at the end of October. 2 weeks later, so it's a 2-day event. 2 weeks after that, 10 days after that, she's on stage at Mega Success on the big stage in the world with 31 celebrities we had, right? And then comes to my house for coaching, where we coach her, which now we can't coach anybody anywhere, at the house at least for a bit. And then she's now working on 30, 40, 50, $100 million deals now. Is that what you're working on?
Yeah, hundreds.
Yeah, in the medical space. So on top, and by the way, she has a show on Millionaire Flix. They have a show. They're branded. Their shows are hugely listened to. What has a show on Millionaire Flix done for you? Because you never, at first you were kind of doing it yourself, but nobody was really listening on these other platforms, because there's no traffic done. And Millionaire Flix has got that built-in traffic of quality people from all over the world, very successful people. What has the show on Millionaire Flix done for you?
One of the biggest differences, I'm getting a lot more comments. I'm getting a lot more people messaging me. I'm getting a lot more people engaging with me, and because they've heard different my podcast and also some interviews I've been doing with people, and especially the one with you. So it's been a complete difference compared to what I was doing before.
Yeah, and Katie, you also have a show as well. But what I'm very proud is both of you, like. Kay was like, okay, I mean, and some of you say, well, Kay was already a millionaire. But I would say, not that she was lucky, but she kind of like had a lot of those vape shops, and then she basically sold them right before, and then the whole industry kind of fell down with all the laws. Like literally, it was like great timing. I'm not saying lucky, but the problem is that the hard part is making it and starting over again, even if you have money.
Yeah.
And what people understand, like $2 million doesn't get you really far. Like it doesn't after and also you made it and then you want to start over, and that's hard, starting over. So she'll say, well, maybe I'm going to be a speaker and parlay that into coaching, and which you do. But now you're working on $30, $40 million deals with very successful people. Fong, you wanted to be a speaker who didn't want to work for the oil companies, which you were. And now you're coaching, you're doing real estate deals. The same thing with me with so many companies is you build an ecosystem, you do deals, and you have opportunities, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. So what advice would you have for Fong, people that are watching that they want to be top speakers, they want to be top coaches, they want to achieve the success that both of you have? And by the way, there's a lot of people inside the chat that I could probably bring on, but I don't know how. I wouldn't know how, plus that. Plus, we've got right after this, we got Promoter X. The big man is going to come next. I see him. He's there. And so I'm excited about that as well. But what advice would you have in closing before we get to the big man on campus?
I think one of the biggest things that people are facing is that they're afraid to speak in front of people. Well, the first thing is just to go out there and start speaking. And the thing is, when you're up there and you're speaking, majority of the time the audience wish they were you. So having that mentality in mind gives you that confidence to go up there and start talking. And once you get past that first 2-3 seconds, you're just going to be very smooth. You'll be right in that zone, and you'll be completely fine.
And also, too, you know what's interesting, Katie, in closing? You're at that stage. There's 10,000 people. A lot of people bought my program that day. You said yes, and look where you are now, on the same platform as me, on the same stages. There are people in the audience who were at that audience and said no to me, and you're still there.
Yeah.
It's all going to change. Do you see what happens when you take action? Action is not something you say, it's something you do. Right? Isn't that crazy? Imagine if you had said no. Fong, imagine you had said no, how different. Same thing with me. Imagine said no. Our lives would be where. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
What advice would you have for people that are listening before we get to Promoter X?
I think especially it doesn't matter what you use the speaking as a platform to do, that as long as you have success and results in something, that you can use it as a platform for more branding, networking. And sometimes people think that they have to have a message or a product specific, but there's so many different ways you can do that. And as long as you're not, BSing everyone and you're telling the truth, then a lot of people are going to gravitate to you because of that. And unfortunately, with everything that's out there right now, we'll leave names out of it. When you see that swipe up, become a millionaire, swipe up, it's disrespectful to everyone who's ever done anything. So we take that as disrespect because there isn't a code to the safe that's going to unlock success. We know how much it took and how much sacrifice it took. So as long as you stay authentic and you have some sort of results to show, it doesn't matter the industry, you can use that as your platform.
Coaching works. And by the way, if you want to connect with Fong and Katie, they're actually on Millionaire Flix. Check out their show. Their email address and their website is there. That's the way to qualify to basically contact with them as well. Great people, and what a great ecosystem. Thank you, both of you, for being on here today, for inspiring everybody. We're going to get to Promoter X. Thank you so much, guys. If you could X out, that'd be fantastic, or turn off the camera and just listen in. So